$60 million a year. Let that sink in for a second. $60 million every single year for just 4 years. That is the price of doing business when you are the Los Angeles Dodgers and you decide that having a super team simply is not enough. You want a team that looks like a video game with the cheat codes turned on. We are not just talking about signing a big bat. We are talking about Kyle Tucker. We are talking about shattering the average annual value records because the front office looked at the roster and said, we can do better. And I know what you are thinking. I know that feeling in the pit of your stomach because I have been sitting in these stands for decades. I have seen us spend money like water before. I have seen the dream teams turn into nightmares in October. I have seen the arrogance backfire. But this feels different. This feels clinical. The headline is the money, $240 million total. But the real story is the domino effect. Because when you drop a nuclear bomb like Kyle Tucker into right field, the fallout has to hit someone. For a minute there, it looked like that someone was going to be Teoscar Hernandez. And I have to be honest with you, when the rumors started swirling that Teoscar was on the trading block, I got nervous. I got genuinely angry because we do this too often. We chase the shiny new toy and we forget about the guys who actually bring the fire. Teoscar Hernandez has been nothing but a soldier for this team. 58 home runs in his first 2 seasons in Hollywood. That is not production you just replace. That is not a guy you discard because you found a lefty bat you like better. Teoscar brings a vibe to this clubhouse that we desperately need. He plays with a smile, but he swings with violence. He has that clutch gene that half our superstars seem to leave in their lockers when the playoffs start. Thank God sanity prevailed. According to Ken Rosenthal, the plan isn't to dump Teoscar. The plan is to move him. He is packing his bags and moving from right field over to left field. Is he a gold glove left fielder? Probably not. Do I care? Absolutely not. You put Teoscar in left, you put Tucker in right, you figure out center field later. The point is the lineup. Think about the protection in this lineup now. Teoscar Hernandez hit 25 homers last season. In most lineups, he is the main guy. He is the cleanup hitter. In this team, he might be batting 6th. That is terrifying. That is the kind of depth that makes opposing pitchers wake up in a cold sweat. But let's talk about why Kyle Tucker is here, because this is the part that reveals the psychology of the modern player. The Toronto Blue Jays wanted him bad. They were desperate. They put a 10-year contract on the table. $350 million. That is franchise player money. That is, we will build a statue of you money. And Tucker said no. He looked at Toronto. He looked at the pressure of being the savior for a franchise that cannot seem to get out of its own way. And then he looked at Los Angeles. He took fewer years. He took a shorter commitment. Why? Because in Los Angeles, Kyle Tucker does not have to be the MVP. He just has to be Kyle Tucker. He can slide into a lineup that already has MVPs. He can hide in the tall grass. If he goes 0 for 4, nobody panics because the 3 guys hitting ahead of him probably drove in 2 runs. That is a luxury. That is the Hollywood tax that other teams cannot pay. He bet on himself. He took the $60 million a year average because he knows in 4 years, if he wins a ring or 2 here, he can go out and get another massive contract. It is a mercenary move, sure, but I respect the hustle. I respect the desire to win over the desire for a 10-year safety net. Now, before we start planning the parade, we have to talk about the cost, because there is always a cost. The roster is overflowing. The luxury tax is a number so high, I do not even want to calculate it. And to make this work, the Dodgers have to trim the fat. And this is where the business side gets cold. Rosenthal mentioned 2 names on the trade block, Brian Ward and Bobby Miller. Brian Ward, I get it. The guy crushed it in the minors. Pacific Coast League MVP, 28 years old. He is a great story, but he is blocked here. He deserves a shot somewhere else, and if he brings us back a bullpen arm or a prospect, fine. That is just asset management. But Bobby Miller, man, that name stings a little bit. Remember when Bobby Miller came up? Remember the swagger, the 100-mile-per-hour heater? We thought we had the next ace. We thought we had the guy who would carry the rotation for the next decade. And now, he is being shopped. He is labeled a disappointment. It is harsh, but it is also the reality of this window. The Dodgers do not have time for potential anymore. They do not have patience for guys to figure it out at the big league level. You either perform or you are currency. Bobby Miller has struggled. We cannot deny that. The consistency hasn't been there. The mental game seems fragile at times. And when you are paying Kyle Tucker $60 million, you cannot afford to have a guy on the mound who might give you a good start. You need guarantees. So if trading Bobby Miller gets us a reliable reliever or helps replenish the farm system slightly, Friedman is going to pull the trigger, and he is going to do it without blinking. This is the ruthlessness I have been asking for, even if it leaves a bitter taste. We have been too soft with our own prospects in the past. We held on to guys too long, waiting for them to become stars, and watch their value tank. If the front office has decided Miller is not the guy, then move him now. Do not wait. This leads me to the bigger picture. We are staring at a season where anything less than a World Series trophy is a catastrophic failure. I know we say that every year, but look at the payroll. Look at the names. You have Teoscar moving positions to accommodate a $60 million man. You have former top prospects being dangled as trade bait. You have a lineup that costs more than the GDP of a small island nation. There are no excuses left. None. Dave Roberts cannot mismanage the bullpen because the offense should be scoring 8 runs a game. The front office cannot say they didn't go all in. I like the aggression. I really do. I like that we aren't settling. The Blue Jays offered more years. The Mets offered $55 million a year. And the Dodgers just blew them all out of the water with pure, unadulterated cash flow. It sends a message to the league. It says we are not just trying to be good, we are trying to be inevitable. But as a fan who has seen the collapse, who has seen the bats go cold in October, I am keeping my feet on the ground. Paper rosters do not win championships, clubhouses do. Moving Teoscar to left field seems like a small detail, but it matters. Will he handle it well? Will the chemistry hold up when you add another superstar ego to the room? Will Kyle Tucker handle the media market in Los Angeles differently than he would have in Toronto? These are the questions that keep me up at night. But for now, I will take it. I will take the ambition. I will take the fact that while other teams are crying poor or offering 10-year contracts to try and beg players to come to their city, the Dodgers are dropping hammer after hammer. We kept Teoscar. We got Tucker. We are ruthless with Miller. It is going to be a wild ride, and if it crashes and burns, it will be the most expensive explosion in baseball history. But if it works, my God, if it works, I want to hear from you. This is the part where you tell me I am crazy or tell me I am right. Are you okay with paying Kyle Tucker $60 million a year for 4 years? Do you trust Teoscar in left field? And how do you feel about giving up on Bobby Miller this early? Drop a comment below. I read them, even the ones that call me a pessimist. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, if you appreciate someone who gives it to you straight without the sugarcoating, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have a long season ahead of us. Let's see if money really can buy happiness, or at least a parade.